Imagine this. The joy you've been searching for wasn't lost. It was buried beneath expectations, stress, and the endless pursuit of more. We live in a world that tells us happiness lies just over the next hill. In a relationship, a paycheck, a title, a new version of ourselves. But Buddhism tells a different story, one that doesn't begin in the future, but right here, right now. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. The Buddha. In this long-form journey with the Enlightened Mind, we will walk through 9 powerful Buddhist teachings, not as abstract ideas, but as real-life practices that shift the way we see the world, our thoughts, our suffering, and even our joy. These teachings aren't rules, they're reminders. They remind us who we really are beneath the chaos, beneath the masks. And if you're open, what you'll find isn't just temporary happiness, but something deeper, enduring, unshakable. So take a deep breath. Let this not be just a video, let it be a turning point. Teaching number 1. Focus on the present moment where true happiness begins. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. The Buddha, Tine, the illusion of time. If you stop and really listen to your thoughts, how many of them are rooted in now? Most of us live in mental time machines. We rewind past conversations we can't change, or fast forward into imagined futures filled with anxiety or hope. But in that process, we miss something sacred. The only moment that actually exists. The present. Right now. We spend so much time trying to control what's already passed or hasn't happened yet. And in that obsession with the before and after, we let the now, the only place life truly unfolds, slip away unnoticed. A story of regret and awakening. There's a story of a man who carried a small notebook in his pocket. Every day, he wrote down moments. He regretted things he should have said, chances he didn't take, people he wished he treated better. The notebook grew thicker over the years. One day, at a monastery, a monk saw him flipping through his notes and asked, "What is that you carry so closely?" The man replied, "My past. I never want to forget my mistakes." The monk gently smiled and said, "You are not carrying your past. Your past is carrying you." It hit him like thunder. He was living in pages, not presents. And so he burned the notebook. Not in anger, but in liberation. That day, he made room for life to begin again. Not in the past, not in the future, but here. Buddhist insight. The present is the only truth. In Buddhist philosophy, the present moment is more than a second in time. It's a gate to awakening. Suffering is born when we attach to what was, or fear what might be. But joy? Joy lives quietly in the space we rarely visit now. Even the breath is a teacher. We inhale in the present. We exhale in the present. No one has ever breathed in the past or future. So why live there? Real-life application. The practice of presence. Start small. When washing dishes, wash dishes. Feel the warm water. Hear the clinking of bowls. Don't turn it into a mental to-do list. When you drink tea, drink tea. When you walk, walk. When you're listening to someone, listen without crafting your next sentence. Every time you return to the present, you're not escaping your life, you're entering it. Presence is not passivity. It's the most powerful form of awareness. Reflection. Ask yourself gently, am I here now? Or am I somewhere else, in a moment that doesn't even exist? Every time your answer is, I'm here, you're already healing. You're already winning. You're already alive. Teaching number 2. Detach from desire. The gentle art of freedom. Craving leads to suffering. The end of craving is the end of suffering. The Buddha, the problem isn't wanting, it's clinging. Desire is not the enemy. In fact, wanting food when hungry or warmth when cold is natural. But in Buddhism, suffering doesn't arise from the mere presence of desire. It arises from attachment to desire. Think of desire like fire. It can cook your meal or burn your house down. The difference is whether you're in control or whether the fire is controlling you. We suffer not because we want, but because we need our wants to make us feel whole. We wrap our identity around outcomes. We say, I'll be happy when I get the job. I'll feel worthy if they love me. I'll finally be free after I reach that goal. But the finish line keeps moving. The more we chase, the further happiness runs. Buddhist analogy, holding the lotus. A monk once gave this teaching. If you grasp a lotus too tightly, you crush it. But if you hold it lightly, it rests beautifully in your hands. Attachment is like squeezing that lotus. Your fear of losing it makes you destroy it. Detachment, on the other hand, is gentle. It allows beauty to exist without needing to possess it. Real life story. The sand in his hands. There was a man who built his life around success. He worked 16-hour days chasing titles, bonuses, recognition. But no matter how much he achieved, it was never enough. One day, at a retreat, he was asked to hold a handful of sand. He gripped it tightly, and most of it slipped through his fingers. Now try holding it gently, the monk said. This time, more sand stayed in his palm, and more importantly, he was calm. That image stayed with him. He didn't quit his job, but he stopped chasing it like it owed him something. And ironically, that's when he began to thrive, not just professionally, but personally. The secret? He let go of need and found joy in presence. Buddhist wisdom. Desire is natural. Attachment is optional. Buddhism never says to eliminate desire. It teaches us to see it clearly. Desire without awareness becomes craving. Desire with awareness becomes preference, not prison. When we're attached, we live with grasping hands, afraid of losing, afraid of not having. When we're free from attachment, we walk through life with open palms, able to love, enjoy, and even grieve without being destroyed by any of it. Practicing detachment. Try this reflection exercise. Think of one thing you deeply desire right now. Ask, would I still be whole if I didn't get it? If the answer is no, that's your opportunity for inner work. Detachment doesn't mean pushing the desire away. It means loosening your grip. Let it breathe. Let it flow. As the Buddha taught, the root of suffering is attachment, but the root of freedom is awareness. Teaching number 3. Right speech, speaking words that liberate, not wound. Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. The Buddha. Words are energy, they leave residue. Every word you speak plants a seed in someone else's heart and in your own mind. The question is, are you planting peace or poison? In Buddhism, right speech, samma vaca, is one of the steps of the Noble Eightfold Path, a foundational practice for living an ethical and awakened life. It's not just about being nice or polite, it's about aligning your speech with truth, clarity, compassion, and usefulness. We often think words are harmless, but words can heal. Words can haunt. Words can hold space. Or they can shatter trust in a single breath. Once spoken, they cannot be unsaid. 4 principles of right speech. According to the Buddha, Right speech means speak the truth, no lies, exaggerations, or manipulations. Speak kindly. Avoid harsh, cruel, or angry tones. Speak helpfully. If your words bring no benefit, why say them? Speak at the right time. Even truth must wait for the right moment. Real-life reflection. The wounded friend. Mira once argued with her best friend. In a moment of anger, she said, "You always make everything about you. Maybe that's why people leave." The silence afterward was heavier than the words. They didn't speak for months. Later, Mira admitted she didn't even mean it, but the damage was done. Her words had spoken from a wound, not from wisdom. Eventually, she apologized. But more importantly, she vowed never to let pain speak louder than presence again. Lesson? Just because it's true doesn't mean it must be said, and if it must be said, say it with care. The echo of speech in Buddhist thought. There's a famous saying in Buddhism: if you propose to speak, always ask yourself, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? These three gates, truth, necessity, and kindness, act like filters. Words that don't pass through all three, let them dissolve into silence. Because sometimes silence itself is compassion. Words as liberation. Right speech is not about censorship, it's about conscious creation. Imagine a world where every word you spoke built trust, healed pain, encouraged others, reflected your inner clarity. That's not idealism, that's spiritual discipline. In monasteries, monks train their minds not just in meditation but in speech. Why? Because mastering speech is mastering the bridge between your inner state and the outer world. What you say is who you are, and when your words reflect peace, people feel it and respect follows. Gujid. Practice. Try this today. Before you speak, pause. Ask, is this rooted in ego or in empathy? Speak slower, speak less, speak clearer. Let your words feel like water cleansing, calm and kind. Teaching number 4. Gratitude turning ordinary moments into sacred ones. Let us rise up and be thankful. For if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So, let us all be thankful. The Buddha. Gratitude is not a feeling, it's a choice. We often wait for something big to be grateful for: a promotion, a relationship, a major life breakthrough. But Buddhism teaches a radically different truth. Gratitude doesn't follow happiness. Gratitude creates happiness. When we pause to truly see what's here, now a breath, a kind smile, the warmth of sunlight on the skin, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Gratitude isn't about ignoring suffering. It's about discovering that peace still exists within it. A Buddhist perspective. Mindfulness is the soil, gratitude is the flower. Gratitude is a direct result of mindfulness. When we are present, we begin to notice beauty in the smallest details. The way the wind moves the leaves, the silence between 2 deep breaths, the comfort of a warm cup of tea. Thich Nhat Hanh, the great Zen teacher, once said, "Walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet." That's gratitude in motion. That's turning the mundane into the sacred. Real life story. The orange that changed everything. During a mindfulness retreat, a woman named Elise was asked to eat a single orange very slowly. Not just bite and chew, but truly experience it. Notice its scent, its texture, the explosion of juice, the color of its skin, the gift of nature's design. She wept. For the first time in years, she tasted her life and realized how much of it she had missed by rushing through everything. That single orange became a symbol of awakening. She said, "That orange taught me to stop waiting for big things to feel grateful. Every moment is the big thing." The Buddha's teaching on contentment. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha reminds us, contentment is the greatest wealth. You may not have everything you want, but what if you already have more than enough? A grateful heart doesn't demand more. It sees more in what it already has. Reframing life with gratitude. Think of this shift from, "Why is this happening to me?" to, "What is this teaching me?" Even painful moments, when held with compassion and gratitude, become teachers, not enemies. Buddhist masters often express thanks not just for joys, but for hardships, because those are the moments that carved their wisdom, softened their hearts, and deepened their path. Godes, practice. A 3-minute gratitude ritual. Each night before sleep, close your eyes. Name 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small. Breathe deeply into each one. Let it soften your chest. Let it bring peace. This rewires the mind. Over time, your focus shifts from what's missing to what's here, and peace follows naturally. Gratitude isn't passive. It's active awareness. It's choosing to see life not just as bearable, but as a blessing in every breath, in every step. Teaching number 5. Embrace simplicity, why less is not lack, but liberation. It is not wealth that makes a man rich, but the fewness of his wants. The Buddha, simplicity is not deprivation, it is freedom. In a world that constantly shouts more, better, faster, Buddhism whispers, let it be enough. Embracing simplicity doesn't mean giving up the joys of life. It means redefining what joy actually is. The Buddha taught that craving is the root of suffering. Not just desire itself, but the attachment to it, the belief that this one more thing will finally bring peace. But the truth is, peace isn't found in excess, it's revealed in stillness. Real life reflection. The empty house that felt full. A man named Jacob lived in a small village. After losing his job, he had to move into a one-room house with no television, no internet, and very few possessions. At first, he felt like life was punishing him. But something strange happened. He began to enjoy the sound of birds in the morning, the smell of rice cooking, the feel of wind through an open window. He had time to sit, to breathe, to notice. Later, he said, "When I had everything, I was never home in my house or in myself. When I had nothing, I finally arrived." Simplicity gave him back his life. Buddhist wisdom. Simplicity is a sacred practice. In monastic life, monks and nuns take vows of simplicity, not out of misery, but out of intentional joy. Their lives are stripped down, not to suffer, but to see clearly. They wear the same robes, eat the same simple meals, and live without clutter. Why? Because in simplicity, there is less distraction, less noise, and more space to meet the truth of who we are. As Thich Nhat Hanh once said, the more you consume, the less you are aware of what you already have. Simplicity clears the mirror of your mind, letting go of the more mentality. Ask yourself, how much of what you own do you truly need? How many desires are yours? And how many were sold to you by someone else's idea of happiness? We often think we are choosing, but most of us are reacting. Simplicity invites you to respond, not react. By slowing down and choosing less, you awaken to what truly nourishes you. A single deep breath, a quiet walk, a meaningful conversation. These are riches beyond price. Gujit minimalism is a form of mindfulness. Minimalism isn't about how empty your shelf is, it's about how full your attention is. When your space is clear, your thoughts are lighter. When your needs are simple, your joys become deeper. One monk put it this way: with fewer things to manage, I have more time to meet myself. Practice simplicity inventory. Try this reflection. Walk through your home and choose one object. Ask, does this add meaning or noise to my life? Release what doesn't serve your peace. You can also do this mentally. What habits are cluttering your mind? What relationships drain rather than nourish? What goals are driven by ego, not truth? Let go. Lighten the load. Return to simplicity. Simplicity isn't the absence of abundance, it's the presence of essence. In the quiet of less, you find more. More clarity, more time, more life. Teaching number 6. Practice compassion. How serving others awakens the soul. If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. Jack Cornfield. Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. The Buddha. Compassion is the bridge between suffering and wisdom. In Buddhism, compassion, karuna, isn't just a feeling, it is the practice of awakening. It is what happens when your heart remains open in the presence of pain, yours or someone else's pain. And here's the secret. The more you give, the more you grow. Not because you're superior, not because you're a savior, but because in helping others, you remember, we are not separate. When you serve someone else with a kind word, a listening ear, a simple presence, you're not fixing them. You're recognizing yourself in them. Real life story. The bowl of rice that saved 2 lives. In the Thai forest tradition, monks go on alms rounds walking barefoot through villages, bowls in hand, receiving whatever food people offer. One day, a young monk received a single bowl of plain rice from an elderly widow who had nothing else to give. She bowed low, tears in her eyes, and whispered, "This is all I have." The monk bowed back and said, "Then you've given everything." He returned to the monastery and chose not to eat that rice, but to share it with a sick elder monk who hadn't eaten all day. That one bowl of rice touched 3 lives: the giver, the receiver, and the one who passed it on. Compassion ripples. Even the smallest act of kindness becomes sacred. Buddhist insight. Compassion is not weakness, it's inner strength. There's a popular misconception that compassion makes you soft. But look deeper. In Buddhist psychology, compassion is the fearless response to suffering. It takes courage to stay open when others close off. It takes strength to hold space when the world demands distance. True compassion is not pity, but the ability to see suffering without turning away. When you practice compassion, you don't get consumed by suffering. You learn to sit with it, and in sitting, you heal. A practice from the Bodhisattva path. A bodhisattva is someone who delays their own final enlightenment until all beings are free from suffering. While we may not take such a vow, we can live in the spirit of it by showing up now, today, as a source of peace for others. Try this. Compassionate intention. Each morning, say to yourself, "May I be a healing presence for someone today." Small act. Hold the door. Send a message. Forgive the forgotten. Listen fully. Silent blessing. When you see someone suffering, even a stranger, silently wish them peace. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present with love. Compassion is a mirror. The more you offer kindness, the more you see how much you, too, deserve it. This is why Buddhism teaches compassion for all beings, including yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you shouldn't. Self-compassion is not indulgence. It is maintenance for the soul. Reflective exercise, the shared breath. Sit quietly and imagine someone in your life who is suffering. Visualize them clearly. With each breath, inhale their pain. Exhale peace and healing toward them. This is Tonglen, a Tibetan Buddhist practice of giving and taking. It sounds heavy, but paradoxically, it brings lightness because love lightens what fear cannot carry. Compassion is a worldview. It's not something you turn on and off. It's how you walk, how you speak, how you see the world. When you practice compassion, you're not just helping others, you're softening your own sharp edges. You're releasing control. You're becoming human again. In Buddhism, to feel deeply is not a weakness. It's a path to awakening. Final reflection. If you're ever unsure of what to do next, lead with compassion. Speak from the heart. Act with kindness. Let love be your language. You may never know how far your ripple travels, but the world will feel it, and so will you. Teaching number 7. Follow the middle way. Balance as the true key to happiness. To enjoy good health, to bring true happiness to one's family, to bring peace to all, one must first discipline and control one's own mind. The Buddha, the middle way, avoids both extremes, indulgence and denial. It is the path of wisdom. What is the middle way? The middle way, known as Majjhima Patipada in Pali, is one of the most central principles in Buddhism. It is the path that avoids the extremes of self-indulgence and self-mortification. This teaching emerged from the Buddha's own life experience. Before his enlightenment, he lived in luxury as a prince, then punished his body with severe ascetic practices. Both left him unfulfilled. Only when he let go of both extremes and followed a balanced path did he awaken. The middle way is not a compromise. It is wisdom in motion. Why balance matters in daily life. Our modern world is full of extremes. Workaholism or avoidance, overeating or obsessive dieting, constant stimulation or complete withdrawal. But Buddhism reminds us, neither extreme leads to peace. Only balance leads to freedom. When you walk the middle path, you enjoy pleasure, but you're not enslaved by it. You practice discipline, but you're not consumed by it. You care for others without losing yourself. Balance is not walking the tightrope, it's learning to move with grace. Real life story. The monk and the lute. One of the Buddha's disciples, Sona, practiced so diligently that he wore wounds into his feet from walking meditation. Frustrated by his lack of progress, he approached the Buddha. The Buddha asked, "Sona, when you played the lute, did it sound good when the strings were too loose?" "No, Lord." "And what if the strings were too tight?" "They snapped. And when they were tuned just right?" "Then it made beautiful music." The Buddha smiled. So too with your mind. Practice with balance, not force. Balance is not passivity, it's mastery. The middle way is often misunderstood as playing it safe or being indecisive. In truth, it's the path of clarity, intentionality, and emotional strength. When you are balanced, you respond rather than react. You rest without guilt. You act without burnout. You feel without being overwhelmed. The middle way is what allows you to keep walking even when life gets hard. The emotional extremes we must master. In the inner world, the middle way means balancing. Hope and fear, trusting without needing guarantees. Compassion and boundaries, caring deeply without losing your center. Joy and sorrow, honoring both as natural parts of life. The Buddha didn't teach suppression. He taught right relationship. You're not meant to kill desire, but to stop being ruled by it. You're not meant to avoid pain, but to stop identifying with it. Balance doesn't mean nothing happens. It means everything happens, and you remain rooted. A practice for balance. The check-in pause. Once a day, pause and ask yourself, am I doing too much or not enough? Am I speaking from emotion or wisdom? Am I forcing or flowing? This simple awareness interrupts the autopilot of extremes. The middle way doesn't scream. It whispers, come back to center. A warning from the Buddha. The Buddha warned that extremes, even if well-intentioned, can sabotage the path. He said, this Dhamma is for the wise, not for those who cling to extremes. Think of a fire. Too much wood smothers it, too little and it dies. The right amount and it glows. So it is with your life. How the middle way leads to lasting joy. Temporary pleasure fades. Harsh discipline exhausts. But balance it builds. It gives you the strength to show up again and again. It keeps your relationships steady. It gives your mind clarity. It allows you to change without collapsing. True happiness isn't found in having it all, or giving everything up. It's found in walking the middle way with grace, wisdom, and presence. Final reflection. If life feels chaotic, ask, am I swinging between too much and too little? What would balance look like right now? Then walk the middle way, not as a concept, but as a way of being. Because in that middle path, you'll find strength without strain, joy without addiction, discipline without self-punishment, and most of all, peace that endures. Teaching number 8, meditate daily, the path to inner stillness and awareness. Peace comes from within, do not seek it without. The Buddha, when the mind is calm, the world reflects that calm. Goj. Why daily meditation is more than just sitting still. In Buddhist tradition, meditation, bhavana, is not an occasional practice, it's a way of life. It's how we train the mind to see clearly, feel fully, and respond wisely. It's not just about being calm for 10 minutes. It's about becoming a calm presence for the rest of your day and life. Just like brushing your teeth keeps your mouth clean, daily meditation clears the mind of emotional plaque. What happens when you meditate? Modern science now confirms what Buddhism taught 2,500 years ago. Meditation reduces stress hormones like cortisol. It strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation. It increases grey matter in regions linked to compassion, empathy, and memory. But beyond the science, here's what truly matters. Meditation gives you the space between impulse and action, between thought and identification, between reaction and wisdom. Real life story. The CEO who meditated. Sophia was a fast-paced executive running a startup in Silicon Valley. Her life was a blur of deadlines, meetings, and burnout. A friend gifted her a book on mindfulness meditation. Skeptical but desperate, she committed to 10 minutes a day. At first, she found it boring. Her mind raced. But after a few weeks, something shifted. She became less reactive in meetings. She stopped checking emails before sunrise. She started listening, really listening to her team. Sophia didn't just become a better leader. She became a better human. She later said, "Meditation didn't change my workload, it changed me." The types of Buddhist meditation. In Buddhist tradition, meditation comes in many forms. Samatha, calm abiding, focused on the breath or a single object to cultivate tranquility. Vipassana, insight meditation, observing the nature of thoughts, emotions, and sensations to see their impermanence and emptiness. Metta bhavana, loving kindness, cultivating compassion and goodwill for yourself and others. Each of these nourishes a different part of your inner life. You don't need to master them all. Just pick one. Practice it daily. Let it change you. Daily practice. The 5-minute reset. Even one mindful breath is a victory. Try this simple routine. Sit upright, spine relaxed. Close your eyes. Bring attention to the breath. Inhale slowly, noticing the cool air. Exhale, feeling your body soften. If thoughts arise, don't resist, observe and return. That's it. Start with 5 minutes. Grow it with consistency, not force. It's not the length that matters, it's the return. The still lake analogy. The Buddha once said, "The mind is like a lake. When agitated, it reflects nothing clearly. But when still, you see the moon, you see the stars, you see yourself." Daily meditation is the stilling of that lake. You don't stop the thoughts, you stop being pulled by them. The inner fire you tend. Your emotions, energy, and thoughts are like flames. Without awareness, they burn wild. With daily practice, you become the keeper of the fire. You recognize anger before it erupts. You witness anxiety before it drowns you. You hold space for grief without collapsing. Meditation doesn't make pain vanish. It makes you spacious enough to hold it. Meditation and awakening. The Buddha attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree through meditation, not through study alone. Why? Because truth is not just intellectual, it's experiential. You can read about peace all day, but you'll only know it when you sit still and meet your mind. The path of awakening is walked step by step, and every breath you observe is one of those steps. Final reflection. Meditation isn't something you fit into life. It's what transforms how you live. So start small. Be gentle. Sit daily. Let silence be your teacher. Let presence be your prayer. And let your calmness become a blessing for yourself and for the world. Teaching number 9. Practice self-discipline. The quiet power of inner integrity. Though one may conquer 1,000 men in battle, he who conquers himself is the greatest of warriors. The Buddha. Why self-discipline is the foundation of inner freedom. In today's world, we often confuse freedom with the ability to do whatever we want. But Buddhism turns that idea on its head. True freedom is not the absence of rules, it's mastery over your impulses. Self-discipline, sila, in Buddhist teaching is not about punishment or harshness. It's the gentle, conscious alignment of your actions with your deepest values. It's how you build a life that feels coherent, calm, and clear on the inside and outside. The 3 levels of Buddhist discipline. Physical discipline, right action, choosing not to harm others, not stealing, avoiding intoxication. Verbal discipline, right speech, no lying, gossiping, or speaking in anger. Mental discipline, right intention, letting go of greed, hatred, and delusion. When your actions, words, and thoughts align with truth, there's no internal conflict, only peace. Real life story, the artist who chose the harder path. Daniel was a painter known for raw, emotional works. But behind his fame, he struggled with addiction and erratic behavior. His personal life was chaos. He once said, "I thought freedom meant doing whatever I felt, but I was a prisoner of my own emotions." After hitting rock bottom, Daniel met a Buddhist teacher who gave him this reflection: "You don't need to silence your emotions, you need to anchor them." He began practicing self-discipline, starting with waking early, meditating, and reducing alcohol. His art didn't lose its edge. It gained depth born from clarity, not chaos. His relationships improved. So did his peace. I learned that structure doesn't kill creativity. It sets it free. Daily practice, small commitments, big shifts. You don't need to become a monk. You need to start honoring your word to yourself. Try these. Wake at the same time every day. Speak honestly, especially when it's hard. Say no to temptations that steal your peace. Pause before reacting. Choose response over impulse. Each moment of self-restraint is a brick in the temple of your inner strength. The fire within. Discipline as sacred heat. In Buddhist metaphor, discipline is the fire that burns away impurities. Without it, the ego remains wild, attached to pleasure, resistant to truth. But with steady practice, anger becomes patience, desire becomes clarity, chaos becomes stillness. Self-discipline is not suppression. It is self-respect in action, the quiet confidence of the ethical life. There's a certain light that radiates from people who live ethically, not because they follow rules, but because their heart is clean. You feel it when they speak with kindness. They choose peace over drama. They stand firm in values even when no one's watching. This is inner integrity. It can't be faked, and it shines louder than words. People trust you not because of what you say, but because of how you live. Buddhist view. Sila as the first step toward enlightenment. In the Eightfold Path, the Buddha placed right speech, right action, and right livelihood before meditation and wisdom. Why? Because without ethical discipline, the mind is restless. Guilt clouds clarity. Regret disrupts presence. Discipline cleanses the soil so insight can take root. Final reflection. Discipline is not a punishment, it's a devotion. It's how we bow to the sacred within ourselves by living in a way that honors it. It may be quiet, it may be invisible to others, but inside you, it's a symphony of alignment, a life lived with clean hands and a clear heart. So choose integrity, even when no one's watching, especially then, because your peace is the result of every small promise you keep to yourself. Final summary. The joy you seek is already within you. The Buddha never promised a life without pain, but he did promise that through wise living we could transform that pain into peace. These 9 timeless teachings are not rules. They are reflections, gateways to awakening the joy that already exists within you. Let's remember, focus on the present moment, because now is all we truly have. Detach from desire, so you can love without clinging and live without fear. Practice right speech. Speak truth, speak gently, speak only when it uplifts. Cultivate gratitude. Train your heart to see abundance in simplicity. Embrace simplicity. Less chasing, more being. Practice compassion. Healing others is often how we heal ourselves. Follow the middle way. Let go of extremes. Choose balance. Meditate daily, not to escape life, but to enter it fully. Practice self-discipline, because freedom without structure is chaos, and peace is born from integrity. These teachings are not meant to be memorized. They are meant to be lived. Final reflection. Every time you choose presence over panic, stillness over struggle, integrity over indulgence, you are walking the path of awakening. It won't be loud, it won't be easy, but it will be real. And in that reality, there is profound peace. Happiness does not depend on what you have or who you are. It solely relies on what you think. The Buddha, let this be your path, not one of chasing happiness, but of becoming it. Thank you for walking this path with us. If this video brought you even a moment of stillness, clarity, or peace, then the teachings have already begun their work. Remember, you don't have to master all 9 teachings at once. Even practicing one with sincerity can transform your life. So take what spoke to your heart, carry it with gentleness, and return to it often. You are not broken, you are becoming. If you'd like more wisdom like this each week, Buddhist philosophy, mindful living, and deep emotional clarity, subscribe to The Enlightened Mind, because peace isn't something we find, it's something we learn to return to. Until next time, be still, be kind, and walk gently.